I got so much motherfucking design on right now.
Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new guap, where that dick, bitches on the line, and you know.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about CLT. Communicative language CLT is a set of principles about teaching, including recommendations about method and syllabus, where they focus on meaningful communication, not structure, use not usage. In this approach, students are given tasks on accomplish using language instead of studying the language. Advantage of communicative language teaching: the interaction with student and teacher. Communicative teaching is becoming increasingly clear feature is the change in the way as the internship. Students develop the subject initiative and become increasingly important. Teacher-student relationship is an interactive, harmonious relationship rather than the traditional education deacon master-servant relationship. To improve the basic knowledge and ability to skillfully combine and the development. Traditional classroom teaching of English in the main body of the expense of home study only emphasizes the teacher on the knowledge of the systematic and integrity, which is teacher-centered knowledge center from the medieval scholastic teaching methods inherited one consequence of the neglect of student ability. The communicative teaching emphasizes the learner's cognitive ability and operational capabilities, which allow the student themselves to think about expand their view. The strengthened in the real life the ability to use language to communicate.
Hello, I'm Fanny and I will make a presentation about material. The title is Natural Approach. The first introduction, we will know about what is the natural approach, principle of the natural approach, benefit of the natural approach, implementing the natural approach, and the last conclusion. Okay, the first introduction. Today, we are going to talk about a revolutionary approach to teaching English, the natural approach. So, this method is gaining popularity around the world and for good reason. Traditional language teaching methods can be dry and boring, leaving students feeling unmotivated and disengaged. But with the natural approach, students learn English in a way that mirrors how they learn their first language through communication and immersion in real-life situations. It's a more engaging and effective way to learn, and that's why it's so important to explore this approach further. What is the natural approach? The natural approach is a language teaching method that emphasizes communication and immersion in real-life situations. Unlike traditional language teaching methods that focus on grammar rules and vocabulary memorization, the natural approach encourages students to learn through context and meaningful communication. One of the key differences between the natural approach and other language teaching methods is the emphasis on understanding and using language in context. This means that instead of learning grammar rules and vocabulary lists, students are encouraged to use language in real-life situations, such as ordering food at a restaurant or asking for direction on the street. By immersing themselves in the language and using it in context, students are able to acquire language skills more naturally and effectively. Principles of the natural approach. The natural approach is based on the idea that language learning should be similar to the way we learn our first language through meaningful communication and exposure to language in context. This means that students are encouraged to communicate with each other using the language they are learning, rather than simply memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules. Another important principle of the natural approach is the use of context. This means that language is taught in meaningful contexts, such as in conversation or a story, rather in isolation. By learning language in context, students are better able to understand and remember new words and phrases. Benefits of the natural approach. Using the natural approach in English language teaching has been shown to increase student motivation and engagement. In a study conducted by Brown 2007, students who learn English using the natural approach report higher levels of enjoyment and interest compared to those who learn through other methods. Additionally, the natural approach has been proven to improve language acquisition. According to question 1981, language is acquired through meaningful communication emphasized by providing students with a ton of materials and opportunities for communication. They are able to develop their language skill more effectively. Implementing the natural approach. One practical tip for implementing the natural approach in the classroom is to focus on communication and encourage students to communicate with each other in English as much as possible, whether it's through group discussion or pair work. This will help them develop their language skills in a more natural way. Another strategy is to use context to teach new vocabulary and grammar. For example, if you are teaching the names of fruits, you could bring in real fruits and have students describe them using adjectives. This will help them remember the words better and understand how they are used in context. So the last conclusion. In conclusion, the natural approach to English language teaching emphasizes the importance of communication and context in language acquisition. By providing students with authentic language experience, we can increase their motivation and improve their ability to use English in real-life situations. Implementing the natural approach requires a shift in mindset and teaching methodology, but the benefits are well worth the effort. Research studies have shown that students who learn through the natural approach demonstrate higher levels of language proficiency and greater confidence in using English.
Introduce myself, my name is Angga Wijaya. Conclusion. The conclusion of the two methods, that is communicative language teaching and the natural approach, is communicative language teaching also position the teacher as a facilitator rather than an instructor. Furthermore, the approach is a non-methodical system that does not use the textbook series to teach the target language but work on developing sound, oral, and verbal skills prior to reading and writing. The natural approach belongs to a tradition of the language teaching method based on observation and interpretation of how learners acquire both first and second language in non-formal settings. Thank you.